from. Tell your girl she can kick it if she wants some, but we got no time to waste.
Welcome to 4AZ. I'm your host, Tyler McDowell Blanken, and I'm excited to kick off our coverage of Abbott Elementary Season 5. On this episode, we welcome a dear friend and fellow Abbott fan, Eli Bliman, to preview the new season. Eli Bliman, I'm so excited that you're here. It's been a minute since we caught up. I know we were catching up during the production meeting, as it were. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to 4AZ. We're going to talk Abbott. We're going to talk all about you. How you been?
Tyler, thank you so much for having me. It is an absolute honor to be here and discuss Abbott Elementary and the world at large with you today. I've been well. I'm excited for season 5. I got a lot of predictions that I know we're going to get into. We're also joined by my cat today, Mr. Tony Soprano. So I wanted to bring that up for the listeners, just in case you see, or any viewers who might see the live version. He's actually trying to leave the chat right now. Which I will not let him do. I'm going to hit cancel on that. But yeah, just in case of any extra appearances, we also have another podcaster.
Fantastic. Tony's YouTube debut. That actually needs to be the title of this episode. Tony's debut, Eli secondary. Well, we are. Yes.
I swear he keeps trying to leave the chat, but I'm not going to let him.
He is the best, and we are grateful that you two are here, Eli. So I figure we got to start with getting to know you. You also grew up in Arizona, eventually taking your talents to Tempe and becoming an Arizona State Sun Devil. Your current employer, I'm just putting all your business out on the streets now, Eli. Sun Devil legend. What was it like to grow up in Arizona, attending public school, and then eventually becoming the proud Sun Devil I know you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for that gracious introduction and taking my talents to Tempe like I'm LeBron James. So I grew up in Phoenix, like you discussed. I technically was born in Glendale, close to the ASU West Valley campus, which is where you and I have both worked previously and gotten to know each other. But I lived in the Phoenix boundaries and got to see the city grow, which was really exciting. I feel like Phoenix has been getting cooler and cooler our entire lives. So even though sometimes I'm interested in trying to live somewhere else, I also love living here and continue to. But yeah, you talked about me going to public school system. So I went to like a private Jewish school my first 4 years of education. And then I was like kind of over that experience and wanted a little more of a general public school education. So from 4th grade through 12th grade, I was in AZ public schools, following like a pathway that largely revolved around choir, actually, for the schools that I ended up going to. I was a big choir nerd in high school. And then when I was trying to decide on a university, I had always pictured myself going out of state, and I have a lot of family that live on the East Coast. So that was kind of a goal for me to either go somewhere on the East Coast or potentially go to ASU or U of A. And I got into a school that I was interested in out east and saw the tuition bill and eventually said, "Go Devils," and never looked back. So when I graduated, I majored in marketing. And so I assumed that I could get a job either working in some sort of like an agency capacity, or I had done a lot of work just in undergrad related to admission services and incoming students. So I thought I could maybe do something working for ASU. And so I tried one and then I tried the other, and I have been at ASU in different capacities ever since. So now I work in alumni communication, doing a variety of different projects, also overseeing like the ASU license plate program, which is kind of the random thing that I get to do. So anytime a Sun Devil in Maryland or Pennsylvania wants a license plate, they have to kind of go through me. It's wild because I've never been to either of those states either. So
Maryland is nice. I think you'd like it, Eli. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations on all your success and all you're doing. You alluded to this. We met through ASU as employees working in recruitment for the then Teachers College. And once I met you, I was like, man, I need to get to know Eli. He there's just something about him, like the spirit, the joy, and then come to find out you are a versatile, multi-talented dude. I want to talk about your connection to our show. Eli is the artist behind our theme song, Drive Safe, No Time to Waste Part 2. Eli, tell us about you as an artist, and if you will, if you'll indulge me, the
Mhm.
creation of No Time to Waste Part 2, our official theme song here on 4AZ.
Sure. So I will also say that what an honor to have that song included as a theme song for the show. I think it is probably my favorite Drive Safe song at the end of the day. Like of any of them that I've made, I think it's the closest to like what it sounded like in my head along the way. So love that it gets to kind of live somewhere else and have another significance too. As far as my music, Drive Safe was an experiment, or was and is ongoing potentially, like an experimental hip hop project. It started as a way of my friend who's a producer and myself as a lyricist of just trying to work on something together. It had been our interest for like a long time to do some kind of a musical project, and coming out of college we were like, let's finally give it a shot, because we both ended up back in Phoenix. And so we ended up working on like 4 EPs together, as well as a compilation album that included a couple songs by us and that we ended up producing on. We formed a record label, kind of just by saying that we were a record label, and started kind of putting out our music and our friends' music. So Informatics Records released Drive Safe's albums or EPs. We never got like a real full album. And then my friend Julian left the group because he just had a lot of other various like musical interests that he wanted to pursue that weren't necessarily in the hip hop kind of genre. Meanwhile, I had already started kind of working on another set of songs with a producer named Planner, I guess, my friend Jordan Rowley, who now is based out of Brooklyn. But at the time he was living here, he was sending me these beats that he was creating, which he had 3 of, and he was like, well, just what do you think of these? And so I started kind of contextualizing them with some song ideas that I had. Ended up writing songs for an EP to do with him specifically. That included one more we ended up working on. But that ended up being the Drive Safe, I guess, EP, kind of like a portmanteau of our 2 artist names. And that one came out last summer after like a long gestation period. It was definitely the longest we'd ever dedicated to working on a single piece of music together, like one project. So I think that kind of shows in the production. And I'm proud of that one.
Yes, and you also created music
Absolutely.
videos. You have music videos on YouTube, and your
Oh,
catalog's available on Apple and Spotify. So if we want
it's
more
true.
Eli, or if we're new to your artistry, to find you on these
Mhm.
platforms, we should search Drive Safe.
Sure. You can search Drive Safe, DRV space SF, and we're the only Drive Safe. So there's 2 music videos. Our song Buku Bucks featuring my friend Colton on like a pretty outlandish verse. And that was the flute beat that I was always meant to rap on, just in my heart of hearts.
It was meant to
And
be.
the song Outrageous, which we shot a video on an old camcorder in New York City when I was visiting my friend Elliot. So that was a good time as well. And that one's for a song on the newest EP.
Wow.
But
Wow. Busy man.
yeah.
Eli, you are, I remember during my interview, you were on the interview committee, and I think we were going around, and the panel was sharing fun facts, and you dropped that you started a record label, you and a friend. And I said, whoa, usually people will say, okay, my favorite color is blue, or I can juggle, or anything like that. But
That'd be
you you
cool.
just you came out the gate and said, yo, I am that guy. I am him. I said, I'm gonna get to know this guy.
See,
We're gonna become
I
good
remember
friends.
that interview very well. This was COVID era, so we were like masked up, I think, in the interview
Yes, we
itself, or
were.
like maybe
Yes.
unmasked. But you came in with the Valley mask, and I immediately wanted to hire you. I was like, we have to get
Oh
him.
my gosh.
And
I
so
can't believe that. Okay,
it
so
was
that was
mutual.
2021. So that's going on almost 5 years ago at this point, if I'm doing my
Wow.
math
Oh my
correctly.
gosh.
We're past 4,
Yeah.
4.5. Wow. Wow. Time is something.
Yeah.
Eli, I was grateful for you then. I'm grateful for you now. You are
Likewise.
here because not
Mhm.
only are you the artist behind this amazing song, No Time to Waste Part 2, support Eli, check him out. But you are also an Abbott Elementary fan. So before we
I'm a
get into
huge Abbott
season
fan.
5, the poster reveal, theory corner
Oh
with the
yeah.
great Eli Bliman, we need to know your relationship to Abbott Elementary? Were you there from the beginning? Did you catch up late? What were your first impressions of the show? Why do you love the show as much as us?
Absolutely. I have been a day one viewer. I know that sounds kind of pretentious, but I had a good feeling way back when Abbott season 1 premiered that this was going to be special, without even really knowing a lot about Quinta or like her comedy, which I think is incredible. I was just thinking about workplace comedies, coincidentally, like around the same time that the show is being produced, and was thinking like, why haven't we really had a show focusing on teachers in a school? Because it seems like the scenarios just kind of write themselves. But then for Abbott to do it in such a nuanced way, I'm a massive The Office fan. So I think that a lot of the DNA show comes from the heavy involvement of like Randall Einhorn, who's executive producer and was the cinematographer on The Office for the first several seasons. So he directs most episodes of Abbott Elementary. I think Jen Salata is also heavily involved in Abbott. So they have a lot of OG The Office personnel behind the scenes. So I think that gives it a lot of heart and obviously influences like the visual language of the show. So it's good to come back to that. I feel like having that kind of warmth that is already so prevalent in The Office, like kind of living again in this show, is very exciting, and I think is something that is pretty unique to the modern kind of sitcom landscape, even though like it's more of a single cam than a true sitcom. But yeah, been a day one viewer, so I love the characters. I think that the acting is stellar. It may be the best like ensemble cast in TV comedy right now. I also think that we're just in an interesting age as far as TV comedy, where so many of our great shows are much more dramedies. Like The Bear competes in TV comedy, same category in award show seasons, but I would not consider the shows the same genre. Even though The Bear can be very funny, it's not like a show with jokes consistently throughout in the same way. It's more of a drama with laughs, I would say. And I think Abbott like rides the line of being like a real comedy while also being able to get you in an emotional way, which is very special. So huge fan. So excited for season 5.
Definitely. Well said. Well, speaking of season 5, and great shout, by the way, E, for the team, some of the team behind The Office, having worked on Abbott, because the similarities are so apparent, yet the shows, I have just a completely different experience watching each of the shows. I remember The Office just being so big when I was in high school and even in college. I remember for our career exploration class, we would even watch episodes of The Office when I was in high school, and it was funny and everyone got into it. And then we had to write, what we learned about workplace dynamics, so on and so forth. But then watching Abbott, the experience is different, yet it's so good. It's so funny, and it's become my favorite show on network television. And what you said about comedy is so important too, that I think on the big screen in film, we don't see a lot of original comedies being released or being uber successful. Yet Abbott has occupied this really special place on network TV. So even though comedies on the big screen in movies aren't necessarily translating the same way they did, I think back when The Hangover was released 10 plus
Oh
years
yeah.
ago and broke records and all that. I don't know that a comedy has sort of reached those heights in film, but TV wise, you mentioned The Bear, drama slash comedy, maybe more of a drama. Abbott, I think, has really cemented itself now heading into a 5th season as being one of, if not the premier comedy series on network TV. Easy for me to say, but I say it with my chest.
No, but I agree. And I think the fact that they're doing it on network TV, and I think that the fact that they are doing seasons with 20 episodes is so
Yes.
special in our streaming
Talk
era.
about it. You don't see that.
You genuinely do not see that. Our funniest shows outside of Abbott, I would say, are typically about 10 episodes long, which
Right.
can be incredible in the streaming era, but I don't think is making the same societal mark as your 24 episode season. We genuinely just don't see that anymore. And so like hats off to not only the cast, but more importantly, almost like the writing staff, just for being able to keep up with that kind of a pace, which I think is extremely difficult to pull off, especially at the level that they are executing on week to week. Just
definitely
kind of wild.
And as a viewer, we've sort of adopted, okay, I have to wait a week to get my new Abbott episode. In the
Mhm.
streaming era we live in, where I think a lot of our favorite series, they're often just dropped on Hulu or on Netflix, and we can binge
Mhm.
the whole season in an instant. But Abbott is still occupying that space where, once a week you got to wait, you got to theorize, you got to talk with your
Mhm.
friends about what's going to happen, and then in a week we got you with new content. I think that's also hard given the streaming
Absolutely.
landscape, where we just get everything we want instantly for a lot of our streaming shows. Abbott is still in that weekly episodic mode, which has worked
Mhm.
wonders for the whole crew.
Absolutely. I think it can give each episode more weight. It allows an episode to kind of reverberate thematically, especially if something huge happens. Like, we'll get into the Gregory and Janine relationship
Yes, we
dynamics
will. Yes,
further
yes,
on, but
yes, we will.
I
Yeah.
don't think that all of the, exciting landmarks in that relationship have the same weight if, you're watching a 25 episode season and it's just in episode 12 while you're watching, and you can go on to 13 right away or something. I think having the week to digest actually does give an extra punch to that. We saw that with Severance season 2, I think, as well.
Yes.
Another one of my absolute favorite shows. I don't know if
Great call.
this can be a Severance and Abbott pod, but
I was more into, what was Severance, HBO, or was that Apple?
it was on Apple.
It was on Apple, I
I
thought. So I was
admittedly
more
pirated
into
it.
your Friends and Neighbors. Did you see that with John Hamm?
I didn't.
You would
I
really
am less
enjoy
familiar
that.
with that one, but I
Yeah,
love
your
John Hamm.
Friends and Neighbors. Yeah, a disgruntled guy robs people in his ritzy neighborhood. It's very good.
Nice.
Yeah.
You've sold me. I like the premise. Very succinct.
Period. Well, I think we've sold our audience on Abbott. This is
yeah.
why we're tuned in. We got the story of Eli, check mark, and now we are inching closer to Eli's thoughts and theories and predictions for season 5. Eli, let's start with the poster drop. I saw this online. I think we have maybe even sent it to each other.
We did.
Very excited. I don't know if you or we can discern anything from this art, but I'm always curious to see the direction that Abbott has for the artwork heading into a new season. So for this season, we have the ensemble cast featured here. We have a series of apples seemingly falling from the sky. I know in the trailer, in the teaser, I think a kid or a student is even throwing apples at one of the staff members, which detention is probably definitely in their future. But what do you think of this artwork? Any bigger picture thoughts on it, or you think it's
so? The first thought was the obvious Rene Magritte painting Illusion.
Yes.
So shout out surrealism. Magritte is one of my faves. So love the apples appearing everywhere. Just fine art. It can be featured in Abbott Elementary. I also I thought it was a great way to showcase the full cast in a creative way. So I was a big fan. I loved how it featured the whole ensemble, kind of everything you just discussed. Yeah, what were your thoughts?
Something I appreciate right off the bat is that Janine Teagues, played by the great Quinta Brunson, is at the center. She's featured prominently because the show ostensibly revolves around Janine. But at this point, season 5, the other characters are so well developed that we have relationships to each of them. But right off the bat, I noticed Janine is front and center, as we like it. I dig the artwork. Eli, great shout on you for the art, the history of it all. Yeah, I love this. It's different enough from last season that it feels like we're charting our own path for season 5, which, speaking of which, I think we need to begin our conversation centered around the aforementioned Janine Teagues and Gregory and her mans. Eli, what have you thought of the journey, the progression of our favorite teacher couple, and how are you feeling heading into season 5?
Sure.
I
So
think
I'll say not only our favorite teacher couple, but I will argue the most important TV couple of the decade. And I don't know if there's another outside of maybe Heliara and Mark S from Severance. And that couple is way more complicated. So I would say definitively, especially in the comedy sphere, it's the Jim and Pam of the 2020s. Like, I don't know if there's another comedy that is at that kind of a societal forefront in the same way, which gives so much weight to this relationship. I think that the way that they paced out their progression has been remarkable. To be able to maintain a will they, won't they effectively for 3 full seasons, was kind of amazing. It's if you follow, and I'll keep making allusions to The Office. It was essentially the same progression in the timing of like they hit it off in season 1, but also like can keep the will they won't they going through a lot of twists and turns until they finally get together effectively in the finale of the 3rd season. So we've had season 4 with the couple actually together and getting to know that fun dynamic, which is a cool kind of opportunity when you're writing television to get to explore. Because now that you don't have the central tension of will they won't they, you have to kind of build on something, and that has to be the emotional connection. Now that you know that the audience has really been waiting for this for, at this point, like 4 full seasons. So my prediction, my bold prediction, is that we get an engagement in season 5. I think that Gregory Eddy is going to propose to Janine Teagues. I don't know how he's going to do it, but I think that it's going to be one for the ages. I know that they can pull it off. That is my bold romantic prediction.
I love the bold romantic prediction. I also love that seemingly in season 4, we inch closer to your prediction coming true. One of my favorite episodes was the one where I think they were at a museum and Janine met Mr. Eddy, Gregory's dad.
Oh yeah, that was incredible.
And how it was rough at first. She was trying a little bit too hard. Gregory's dad, like Gregory, a little bit different kind of cat, different character, a very nuanced. Sure. And she was really working to impress him. And ultimately, by season's end, we got that affirmation from the dad of, hey, Janine is legit. And it also seemed to bring Gregory and his dad closer. They had a lot of conversations that needed to be had. And
definitely,
I thought
you
that
can
was
tell
really
there's
beautiful.
A lot of history in that relationship.
Yes,
that
definitely.
So a shout out to both of the actors, obviously, for their portrayal. You can feel that in their performance.
100%. What have you thought? We spoke about Quinta, you shared your love for her. What have you thought about the evolution of Tyler James Williams playing Gregory Eddy? Because I think a lot of us associated him with Everybody Hates Chris.
Everybody hates Chris. Yeah.
What have you thought about his performance?
I think that he is also like the equivalent of a modern Jim, except he gets to show off his arms a little bit more sometimes, which I have so much respect for. Obviously,
the dude be wearing small sweaters when he's clearly medium or large.
He has every right. That the episode where they go to the club, like where none of us are over that outfit.
What did you think about those episodes in season 4? I think the club might be my favorite Abbott episode ever, or maybe that was karaoke when they brought back City High and they were singing and I love that we actually left the premises of Abbott Elementary in season 4.
Any opportunity to leave the premises, I think, is exciting. Yeah. I'm talking about like when I think it may have been like season 3, but they go to the club and the principal pulls up. Principal Coleman is there.
Ava.
Yeah, doesn't even like pay attention to them in the line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that when she ends up getting picked up by like Andre Iguodala?
Andre Iguodala.
Just randomly,
so random.
Okay. So that season 3. Thank you. Before they were officially together, and then by season 4, karaoke and such. They're
exactly. Anyway, back to your original point about Tyler James Williams. It's been great to see him flourish in a role where he gets to play an adult and gets to kind of embody everything we would want for Janine. I mean that quote where he's just like, I want to learn the things about you. I'm butchering it, but you know what I'm talking about, when it was like very early on and you could just like see the butterflies between the two of them. I feel like their dynamic, it makes sense, but in a real grounded way. They don't feel like one-dimensional characters. They feel like they love each other because of their complexity. In the writing and in their performances, you can just tell. And I think he is secretly very funny. Like the episode in season 4 when not secretly very funny. We know that he's really funny, but he kind of plays a straight character. And a lot of the comedy happens around him as Gregory. He's kind of like the even-keeled teacher on premises compared to some of the others that he's friends with. But like the season episode in season 4 when he's eating the truffles and they're at the golf course and he's like
the golf
getting
course
ready
episode,
to eat the giant truffle. I loved that because it got hit. the opportunity to really showcase his comedy chops in more of a physical
Yes.
way. So I hope we see more of that. I love anytime he gets uncomfortable.
Yes, yes, me too. I remember him being worried because Barbara was judging his palate, his extensive palate, or lack
Yes.
thereof. Said, "No, I have these things. It's a matter of convenience for me. I grew up thinking what's convenient to eat." And then, yeah, that
Mhm.
they really did well with those episodes leaving the premises of Abbott. It all felt intentional. It was comedic. And I agree with you that to me, he's been one of the biggest winners of Abbott Elementary, is establishing him as a talented, versatile actor, not just the kid who played Chris Rock back in the
Mhm.
day, but someone who has range. And his face is so expressive. It kind of reminds me of a Daniel Kaluuya of Get Out fame, where his
Yeah.
face, he doesn't have to say anything. The eyes, the look, it gives
Mhm.
you so much. I'm glad he's been able to showcase that.
I miss when movies had Daniel Kaluuya in them.
Such a talented actor. We're going to talk
Where is he
about actors you would add or actresses you would add to the show. I
at?
wonder if
Right.
I don't know if Daniel Kaluuya would make sense for this, but I love everything he's in.
Same. Yeah. Big
So,
Nope fan.
but no, come
I
on
think
now.
has he been in a
Come on now.
movie since Nope? I don't even know if I've seen him.
He no, so Queen and Slim was definitely before Nope, and then
Mhm. I love that movie too.
he was in that Black Panther theme film that was also incredibly sad, but also excellent. That was also before Nope. I
The
think
new
Nope
one.
may have
Mhm.
been his last project. That was Judas and the Black Messiah. That's the title I'm thinking of.
Oh
Nope may have
yeah.
been the last one. I think you're right. You
He
enjoyed
had
Nope.
what a filmography. Just everything you
What
just mentioned.
he doesn't miss. You
He
enjoyed
doesn't
Nope. This is
I
true.
love Nope. I think it's the
Really,
most dense of the Jordan Peele horror movies.
by far,
Yeah,
by
the
far.
audio editing still
Oh my
haunts me.
gosh. Oh my gosh. And Kiki Palmer?
Oh, she was
Come
incredible.
on. Talking about maximizing your minutes on screen? That's
Oh
what Kiki's
yeah,
known for.
she, she can
Okay.
maximize my minutes.
Okay. Okay. So, period. So Abbott Elementary, make sure to clip that production team. Abbott Elementary talk, Eli. So
Yeah.
Gregory and Janine, you shared your big prediction that they're going to get engaged by season's end. I
Mhm.
do think the show, Quinta and the entire writing team have done a very strong job at, as you alluded to, Eli, creating that tension of will they or won't they. There were times over the past, particularly the first 3 seasons, where even I felt unsure. I was so certain for a while this is going to happen, but they just
Mhm.
left it up to us. They put our emotions on the top shelf, just waiting for us to figure it out. And I think
Yeah.
that slow burn has worked well. So if we think about the rest of season 5, the rest of our cast, Eli, any other theories, predictions, or hope you have
Oh
for
yeah.
Jacob, Mr. Johnson, uh, Miss Shemetti, and the entire team?
Oh yeah. I think
Who
we got to
gets you?
talk about Barbara Howard, who
Oh my
I think
gosh, Miss Howard.
the potential retirement. I think that is
Yes.
going to be a really serious plot line. I understand why she would want to. She's made it seem like this is her final year upcoming, so I don't know what they can do to keep her on in like a different role or something. But I think that would be something that we really miss. Um, she's almost like another Office comparison, and obviously the characterizations are so different, but she's also like a Michael Scott to the. I'm almost in like the capacity of being a mentor in moments to other characters. Because I don't know if Principal Coleman is ever that kind of a figure. Like Michael Scott, you got to see glimpses where he was like a brilliant salesman or where he would actually have like a great piece of advice for someone. And so in that way, I feel like Mrs. Howard is definitely a guide to many of the characters on the show. So I think we would really lose a lot with her departure just in that dynamic.
Mhm.
But I know that dramaturgically it would make sense if they were trying to shake things up or something. And it creates a
Yeah.
lot of emotion and opportunity for more plot.
Yes,
So yeah.
we've seen those teases, especially repeatedly in season 4, and it's just real where you have those OGs, you have those vets who eventually are going to hang it up at some point. They're going to get their jersey in the rafters in the school,
Mhm.
so to speak. And I agree with you. That's definitely it's an option for sure. I love that Barbara Howard, the character, has such different relationships with the other cast. Her
Mhm.
what I need is like a buddy cop movie with her and Melissa Shimenti when they go on their adventures and their
Sign me
crime
up.
fighting.
Oh, that would be
And,
incredible.
but
Just
then
taking on
her
Philadelphia's most mediocre criminals. Yeah, I would watch. I would
let's
be
talk
there
about it.
100%.
I would be there as well, those side missions. But then her relationship to Janine as this motherly figure, this mentor
Mhm.
on campus, and really having comedic moments with Janine, but then also having those real moments of discussing Janine's mental health, her wellness, kind of where she's heading as a young professional. Those have
Mhm.
been some of my favorite scenes. And then
Absolutely.
not to mention last season, Eli, when this was the 100 day episode where kids
Oh,
dressed
that was
up
a
to
fun
celebrate the
one.
100th day of school. And there was a student, a girl, a young lady who dressed up as Mrs. Howard and said,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
100.
Played
I
by
dressed
Van
up.
Van.
Yes,
That
yes.
was so exciting. My favorite rapper under the age of 10.
There, there you go. And shout out to Tony on YouTube, gracing us
Shout
with his
out Tony and
appearance.
shout out Van Van.
Shout out Tony and shout out Van Van. So I agree with you. Miss Howard, as indispensable as a character as she's been for Abbott, I do agree. And we spoke about this during some of our episodes last season, Eli. If there were one character who were on the risk of leaving Abbott, to me, it's a toss up between Jacob to pursue perhaps
Mhm.
other work in education
Oh,
or
yeah.
Barbara leaving Abbott. What do you make of Jacob?
I didn't think about that. I feel like he has to go through some kind of additional growing opportunity in season 5. I don't know what that'll be, but he was getting so much out of his like mentorship roles in season 4, especially with his like one-on-one time with his student. I forget that it was like the multi-episode arc where the student ended up loving golf.
The golf
And he was
episodes, yes.
yeah.
Episode.
But he was trying to find a passion. Was it RJ?
Yes. Great
Yes.
memory.
Okay. So that was such a good like opportunity for Jacob to kind of find himself a little bit more. Because I know he's like very reasonably a fun butt of many jokes on the show, but he also takes it so well, and it's such a good character to be written in a way that he can serve that role, I guess. But never feel like we're laughing at him. We're kind of laughing with him because the kids are laughing at him, but we know his intentions so effectively as the audience that it's never we're laughing at him. We just think that it's funny because he's so earnest. Uh, so yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with this character this season, but it's gonna be something fun and unexpected. I would also like for him to find love again because I know he went through a breakup. So that was sad for him as a viewer, but I think he'll be able to find something that
I was
is more
hoping
fulfilling for him.
I was hoping you'd bring that up. That felt so
Mhm.
so true. That felt so
It was a
real
very
when you can
adult breakup.
yeah, and you can just be minding your own business, trying to live your best life, and then you run into your ex at karaoke or somewhere on these streets, and
Hmm.
you're tempted to crash out immediately.
Oh yeah,
It's tough out here.
it's the urge. You gotta resist
It's
that.
you you got to resist that. We'll see what's in store for Jacob. Eli, I would regret not mentioning Mr. Johnson,
Oh yeah, we
underrated
gotta talk about
character.
Mr. Johnson.
What do you think about Mr. Johnson? We learned some facts about him, some Jill Scott fandom amongst
Oh yeah.
others. He often delivers, talk about maximizing your minutes. He often delivers
Yes.
whenever he's on screen. I love that he's more than just a character that appears every once in a while. Again, he's really been cemented as no, he's going to be on the poster. He's an
Hmm.
essential part of this ensemble
Yes.
cast. When I say Mr. Johnson, what say you?
So I was so excited when Mr. Johnson started getting more and more prevalence in the show because I thought back to my elementary school like janitor. Shout out Mr. Morales if he ever is a 4AZ teacher. But he used to do this thing with all the kids because he was beloved at the elementary school, almost similarly to Mr. Johnson without being as like mystical. Where he would shake kids' hands and he knew how to dislocate and relocate your middle knuckle while he was shaking your hands, and it would be this weird like kind of pop, and it would like hurt just a little bit, but you wanted to do it because it was just weird and cool. And he had this just like calm energy about him that the kids all looked up to him. So I was excited that that character like kind of rang true to me, even in like a kind of a comedic way, and the fact that he's almost like a mythical figure. But I love Mr. Johnson because you can apply like anything to him and it's believable. So I think his layer in the basement is going to expand over time. I think we'll find out more famous people that he's interacted with in the past. He nothing surprises me about Mr. Johnson, but I always laugh at whatever he has to say.
Likewise, we're always ready for something. And I don't know that we gave enough credit to Melissa Chimenti and her dating woes and her pursuit
Oh man.
of love outside of the classroom.
Mhm.
I've also
Exactly.
enjoyed that from season 1 to season 4, her escapades, and she reminds me of not only a lot of teachers I've had, but just a lot of people, a lot of women I know in my life who are just always going to keep it real with you, and tell
Mhm.
you what you need to hear, even when you don't always want to hear it. She does that with Janine. She does that with Gregory. She does that with everybody.
Mhm. And then we see her still be great with kids in a way that
Yes,
she's like a very
in her
supportive
own way.
educator, and
Yep.
like she isn't harsh with them, but she's still real with them. So it shows how like different personality types can translate very well to teaching in ways that you may not expect.
Well said. I couldn't agree more. And we got the introduction of Sweet Cheeks last season as well. So I love that Sweet Cheeks.
Oh,
Kind of like
love
Tony
sweet.
and Eli, Sweet Cheeks and
Mhm.
Miss Chimenti, I should say, were quite the dynamic duo last season. Eli, last character I want to ask you about. We teased her earlier. Ava Coleman. To
Mm,
me, she was
absolutely.
arguably the biggest winner of season 4. Speaking
Oh
about
yeah.
relationships with dads, we had that on several occasions last season, learning more about her and why she is the way she is. I think she is also a great comp for the aforementioned Michael Scott that you
Yeah.
brought up,
She
where
has elements.
you have this larger than life character, but then she has those moments of delivering a presentation at Ava Fest amongst
Mhm.
dozens of her biggest fans, and she knows Andre Iguodala. She had a little romance with Andre.
Mhm.
She has a dad who works at the barber shop. And to close us out here, Ava Coleman, thoughts, predictions. Last season was a big one for her. Where do you think we're headed for season 5? Other reveals?
Definitely. So I've loved watching Ava's character grow throughout the show so far. I feel like she's the character who has grown the most personally, outside of maybe Janine, who just like came in so like green to the profession. But I think that I wouldn't be surprised if she keeps genuinely like becoming more of a principal. While also I want to see her relationship continue with the guy from the district.
With
I forget his name.
Oshan,
He's very
the tech,
handsome.
yeah, Oshan, the tech
Ocean, yes,
lead
I love them
at the
together.
district. Are you
Yes,
buying in? You think this is long term?
I
I've
buy
been
in. I
dubious on
think that
Oshan. I've been dubious.
you're dubious on Ocean.
I've seen so many Tyler Perry films, Eli, that I thought, okay, the handsome light skinned guy with a unique job, he's got to be a villain. There's got to be a villain arc for this dude. I received a lot of flack on the internet
That's so
for this, which
funny.
I've owned.
Hmm.
I'm warming up to the idea that this is real and that Oshan is legit. But you've been convinced already. This is true. It's very handsome.
Sure. I mean, I probably didn't watch enough Tyler Perry movies growing up, so I didn't have that like that instinct against the light skinned man. But
I'm going against
that's,
my own brothers here.
no, that's
I'm not
okay.
proud of
That's
it.
so
It's just
funny.
an instinct.
Maybe because you might be a light skinned man in my life, and I think, oh, like he's trustworthy. I don't know. I think that he's genuine. I think that he's in it for the right reasons with Principal Coleman, and I think that their relationship is going to flourish, and her walls are going to keep coming down. I think he'll be a big part of that as we go
Mm.
forward.
Beautiful. Sign me up. Eli, you know how we do it around here. It is time for our exit ticket. I'm going to ask you one question to close our episode. If you could add one actor or actress to the cast of Abbott Elementary, who would you pick and what would their role be?
Okay. So my first thought was I know that he is friends with Quinta, so I would love to see Thundercat as a music teacher. But then I was like, has that already happened canonically? And I genuinely couldn't remember if that was just something that I dreamed of or if it had happened. If it has happened, great, and I'm glad I remembered it in a weird way. If it hasn't happened yet, I think Thundercat would do amazingly as some sort of like a specialist music teacher doing a seminar for the kids or something. I know like the Philadelphia aspect of it all. I feel like you have to incorporate some Philly legends. So if there was some way that Will Smith could make an appearance on Abbott, I think that would be pretty remarkable. I don't know if he might have to appear as himself because he's so famous that they've probably referenced him in the show at some point. And then as far as like Philly athletes, because I know they've already gotten like Jalen Hurts on the show, and uh, I don't want to bring in any modern 76ers because who knows what would happen. Joel Embiid could show up on set and trip and like hurt his knee again. So I feel like they need to keep all those people like well protected and in like an insulated area. But
no Tyrese Maxey cameo.
Right. And their rookie from last season who was like playing so well and was the only like happy story of the team. And then he like
Jared McCain.
Yes. Such a sweetheart. Anyway, Allen Iverson is the dream. I feel like AI on the show,
Philly legends.
They could find a way to write him in.
Absolutely, 100%. And one of my favorite, I know I was down on O'Shawn, but I'll give him some credit here. One of my favorite subplots, it was a very quick subplot last season, was the budding friendship of O'Shawn and Gregory and how they went to hoop together. Maybe that would be an opportunity to get AI in here. I'm here for it.
Get Allen Iverson. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I feel like he would do it. AI is for the children.
Yeah, he absolutely is, Eli. Fantastic picks. I love it. I'm here for it. I co-sign it. Eli, please let us know, how can we connect with you and support all you're doing?
Oh man. So yeah, if you wanted to listen to the theme song to this show, which is No Time to Waste Part 2, that song is by Drive Safe and Planner, I Guess. It is on the Drive Safe, I Guess EP, which is streaming on all streaming services. New music coming out at some point in the near future, maybe a bit of a genre shift. But I also do have a couple hip hop songs like under production. So thank you, Tyler, so much for the opportunity to appear on the podcast, which I have listened to and is just like an incredible piece of work that you get to put out into the world. So thank you for your contributions, both in the Abbott kind of rewatch side and the just like speaking about the perspectives of education in the state as it relates to the Black community and the broader community. Just a huge fan of you and everything that you do. And this has been so much fun for me. So I wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Eli. You are always welcome. We love you here. I'm so excited that we got the exclusive scoop on Eli's music projects in the works. We will have to have you back once it's time to release and talk about it more. But thank you for all your support. Thank you for your friendship. And I just love that we got to have this conversation around a show that you and I both adore. Just a scheduling update on that note. During an Abbott season, as you may have heard, we drop episodes every other Wednesday. So I'm honored that Eli is kicking us off this season with our Abbott preview for season 5. I hope you'll join us for our 2-pack recaps as we break down each episode this season, again, in terms of 2 episodes per recording. So join us 2 weeks from now on our next episode, again, every other Wednesday. Eli, this was a blast. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you all for tuning in. Let us know of your predictions here on YouTube in the comments. You can also follow the show at 4AZTeach for exclusive show updates and more. Follow Eli at Eli Bli. That's ELIBLI 26 on Instagram if you want to connect with him directly, which I highly recommend. He is great. We will see you all next time. Enjoy Abbott. Here we go.